Hey everybody, McLean here. It's been a while before one of my last videos, but yeah, I'm back and we are working with lists. So let's just kind of dive in again. So I kind of left off where we had a sorry, we had a list and a list of ints, and you can make a list out of any type, or this could be a string or anything, and you set it equal to new list to allocate the memory initially, but then after that you don't have to do anything with it. So what I have it set up to do right now is the program will ask you what you want to do, and it'll say plus, minus, multiply, or divide. Right now I only have it set up for adding, so it reads it in what you enter, and if input is equal to plus, we drop into this loop, and so while it's entering a valid number to add to the list, all it does is it keeps adding the number onto this list. So it will so while if read's not equal to -1, it's going to come down here, and since I'm reading it in as a string, you have to do you have to parse it into an integer, and so that's what this function is. K equals int. 32 is like the memory storage, the bits, the bytes, and so int 32.parse of read, which was the string that I stored whatever you entered it in as, and then K is an integer, so it parses it into an integer and then adds that integer into the list. And so it does that for all numbers that you enter that are not equal to -1. And then once it gets a -1, it's going to stop adding, and it comes down to here, and it does the numbers.sum is the sum of all the values in the list. So it sets integer sum equal to the sum of all the values in the list, and then it'll write it out. So let's just start with that. This will be pretty easy here, just to kind of show you guys. So we hit plus, and let's add 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, and then -1. This should be 25, and it is pretty easy. So lists are very useful because, as you can see, I didn't have to do anything with memory, like in C++ particularly. Using anything where you have to use new, you usually end up having to use it again. You only actually have to use it once with a list, which is pretty helpful when you're dealing with large amounts of data, or you just don't want to have to mess around with the memory point blank. So lists are very useful for that particularly. There's also a couple other functions I want to show you guys about. So you can use a function called count, and so all count does is it'll return the number of elements that are in the list. So like in that last one, I entered 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So that would be, so int sum would be equal to 5, because that's how many elements are in there. Elements are like individual numbers. Yeah. So let's try this just to show you guys how it works. So we hit plus 1, 3. Let's just enter a bunch. And -1, 8, and that is correct. We entered 8 numbers and it returned 8. You can also use a dot clear, so we can print out, so we could do numbers dot clear, and then we can write out again how many elements are in there, and now it'll return 0, because you have to redo it here. So sum equals numbers.count. So now we clear the list here. This is what this does. This will print out how many elements are in the list, and then it clears the list, like empties it out completely, and then it counts, it resets sum equal to the number of elements in the list, and it prints out what that is. So this should be 0. and let's try it. So plus should be 8. We did get 8, and then yep, so we got 0. So that's how that works. You can also do a so let's get rid of the clear here. So you can set some equal to. So let's try this index of. So let's say you're looking, you have a really large file, and or you have a really large list, and you're looking for the spot that a specific number or element is located in. This function .index of is going to return the index of the spot that whatever you tell it to search for is in. So you could do this like you could have a user enter it. So you could say, what would you like to search for? And you know, whatever they enter, then you could put that in here. But for the purpose of this, we're just going to use 3 just to show you guys kind of how it works. So I'm doing plus. The first element in spot 0, remember they're always arrays and lists are always 0 based. So the 1, and then let's put 2, 4, and 3 here. So if sum should be equal to let's see, 1 is in index spot 0, 2 is in index spot 1, spot 2 is in 4 is in spot 2, 3 is in spot 3. So it should return spot 3 on that second, which is correct. I kind of screwed it up there, but that was correct. We had 4 elements because this was our first print, numbers.count, and then the index of, we reset it here. So, and that returned 3 indeed, so we were correct there. You can also do just a dot find, like so. This is useful if you're just trying to find a range of numbers, or all the, or like if you're trying to find the first occurrence of a specific. If you're trying to find a specific thing, so let's say you want to find the first occurrence of a number that is greater than 20. So you type this item equals greater sign all items. The first item, that's essentially what this is saying, first item greater than 20. And it'll set sum equal to whatever that first number is. So that'll happen in that second print statement, as we know here. So plus, let's do 1, 3, I entered 2 numbers, that was silly. 3, 5, 20, and let's do 21. So the first number that is greater than 20 should be 21, and it was correct, that got 21. It just goes through front to back and finds the first number. And yeah, so those are some of the basic functions that we can use with a list. I'll be going over more availabilities, you know, what you guys can use here in the future, obviously. But for now, I hope that was helpful. McLean Keffler, thanks.